Hi there. Today we are here in our discussion panel with two of my dear friends, Amir Salamati and Amir Ayn.
Hi.
And they're going to tell you a little bit about themselves at first. Amir, why don't you start?
Thank you, Kirash. My name is Amir, as you said. I'm the owner of Rumi's Games. Rumi's Games is a Persian game publisher. We started about a year ago. But before that, Rumi's was and still is Persian media. You can say the only Persian media about tabletop gaming in Iran. We started at 2015 with other Amir and another of our friends, Kambiz.
All right.
Yeah. And here we are.
All right. And Amir, why don't you go?
Okay, hi. My name is Amir, and I own a board game cafe in Iran for about 5 years. It's called Cafe Board, and I also started with the other Amir in the Rumi's, as it was a media back then, with our other friend Kambiz. And here we go. We're going to talk about
There's going
cafe
to be
industry.
a lot of other Amir today.
Yeah, there appears to be a lot of Amirs in board game industry in Iran. So we got to give you numbers like Amir 1, Amir 2.
Yeah,
That's okay.
good.
All right. So with the current situation with the COVID-19 problems, cafes and all public places, but board game cafes in Iran have taken a serious hit because as you know, I don't have to tell you, a lot of people don't leave their house, let alone go to to a cafe. So how has it affected you guys?
Yeah, it affected us really greatly because as opposed to normal cafes when you go and you drink or you eat something, gaming cafes have it worse because people have to talk to you, people have to teach you games.
Close to each other, touch like the components.
You have to teach the customers the games, and they are going to have to talk about the game, and there's a lot of talking and touching pieces.
Lots of interaction.
And because of that, people come less to our cafes, even compared to normal cafes or restaurants. Everyone took a hit from the COVID-19, but gaming cafes in particular.
I remember in particular, it was probably 4 or 5 months ago when COVID started.
It was exactly 8 months ago.
Has it been 8 months?
Yeah.
Jesus. All right. I remember you guys sanitized your games.
Yeah.
Like when people played them, you guys would take it, put it in a different shelf, sanitize them.
We were closed for 3 months straight, and then we reopened. And the thing that we thought of was that we made a library for the games that have been played. For example, if you play this game, we would put this game on that shelf, and it would sit there for 2-3 days, maybe 5 days, and then go back to the main shelf that other people can
to be played again.
Start using it. This was what we could come up with, but I don't exactly know if that is the correct way to do things. Some people.
I don't think anybody knew back in the day how you're supposed to treat this thing, right?
Yeah, those days they thought that touching stuff and surfaces was the main way to spread the disease, as opposed to today that it's in the air and the masks.
Oh yeah, I remember at the beginning they were like, we don't know if it's airborne, so people were wearing masks. It's not going to do you any good. People were like, oh, just wear it in case.
But in general, COVID aside, I think board game cafes in Iran are one of the most accelerated
fastest growing businesses
around board gaming. I think last year we had something over 150 gaming cafes all around Iran. Not especially in Tehran either. I think in Tehran it was like 40, and 110 was all around the other cities of Iran.
What do you think is the draw? Why do people want to go and start a fresh business, like opening a board game cafe? Why not something else? Why board gaming all of a sudden?
Before that, I'm gonna tell another story. At the first, when we started Rumi's Games as a media, um, it was cool. We write articles, we captured videos and stuff. But at the time, we, do any events, International Tabletop Day.
Yeah, the
Of
first
2016.
international
Was that
tabletop
the
day in
first
Iran.
one?
Yeah,
I remember that. When was that? 3 years ago?
2015, I think. 15, yeah.
Was I? Oh, okay. 2015 was the first one.
I think,
Okay.
yeah,
Alright.
the first one that Iran participated in. Yeah.
And at that time, I guess that was a huge impact on how people interested in this hobby.
So, kind of exposed people to this hobby.
Yeah.
Got them to know
Over
that,
time,
like,
yeah.
what a board game is.
At first, it was only gathering the people who already knew about board games in one place. We started our cafe, and it was in Tehran. It was, it made a huge hype around it when it opened, and everyone around Tehran who knew about board games and who had board games in their homes, they all thought that they were the only people who knew about board games. And
That is true. That is
yeah,
that's very
I
true.
think you are one
I
of
was
those.
one of them. Yeah, I was like,
Yeah. And this kind of cafe opening up made them come to a singular place. And over time, the energy of those people around each other made the hobby really grow for other people who didn't even know about this hobby.
And put the idea of, can I have my own cafe?
Yeah.
To, their mind. So
Right.
they spread and they start to their own cafes.
Yeah.
I guess that was.
But the question is, were all of them successful?
I think
And like there's supply and there's demand.
Yeah.
All right. Like
Sorry.
if you think about the community, like board game community in Iran, it's not a big one compared to many places
Yeah,
in the
sure.
world. And at the beginning, like the supply was much lower than
yeah.
the demand. But then all of a sudden, the supply started skyrocketing, going all the way up.
I think the first 10 cafes were really successful because of what you just said. But after the 10th, they started to maybe struggle a little bit because people who knew less about gaming maybe opened up places. But over time, after 4 or 5 years now, I think with the publications that with game design and with contests and international affairs and getting the rights from foreign publishers and all stuff like that, the community grew so much that it could handle something like 150
Board game cafes
yeah,
all over
yeah.
the country.
I think it's interesting why people here love to go to cafes to play games. I talked with Mr. Earhart, designer of Condottiere, when he was during his trip to Iran. And
It was
said
2 years ago, right?
2 years ago, yeah. He said that board game cafes are not so much popular in France. He said there were clubs.
Board game clubs.
Board game
Board game
clubs,
clubs,
yes.
yeah.
More than board game cafes.
You can buy like memberships.
Memberships,
and,
yes.
okay.
And they're all geeks,
Come on, we're all geeks.
yeah, but it's interesting that in Iran it's so popular.
Well, I mean, personally, I think like Iranian people in general love going to cafes. They love hanging out in cafes, like. And I think if you add like the element of board gaming to a cafe, they're like, all right, well, we're sitting and having our coffee or food or whatnot. We're gonna kill like, I don't know, an hour or two. Might as well play something. That gives us something to do. I think that was probably one of the main reasons why this took off.
As you said, there are two sides to becoming successful as a board gaming cafe. One is that you are presenting something new, something exciting, something that some people know about, some people don't know about. and that's the gaming and board gaming stuff. And the other thing is that there are many cafes that people go to and just sit and talk.
No, do nothing. I mean,
and
just
do nothing. Yeah,
right?
and how much can you do nothing really? Maybe half an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours.
That is true.
And this filled another gap in that regard. This having a game made those 2-3 hours a little bit more interesting, and that is the other reason.
I don't agree with a little more interesting. I'm going to go with way more interesting. Yeah.
I remember when I was in college, and all we did was going to cafes and didn't even talk. We just looked at each other, and there were no cell phones then, so we just looked and
back in the day.
yeah,
When I was
maybe someone was reading a book and someone was looking at his cup, and two people at the same table talking to each other. Now we can go somewhere, we play a game.
I mean, nowadays you see people go to cafes and there's like 5 people sitting by the table, and everybody's just
Yeah.
like, why did you come here in the first place?
Yeah.
Not only the cafes, at the parties or at the gatherings.
Yeah.
Just the same.
Like, can you give me some tea? No, go get it yourself.
I also would like to talk about the impact that cafes and places that introduce games to new people and hobbyist gamers alike have right now in the board gaming community in Iran, because now it's more it has more awareness and more people know about it. But I still think gaming spaces like board gaming cafes have the most direct contact with the consumer, and they can make a special impact on them, for publishers, for game designers, for foreign affairs, for having the newest games of the world in some place that you can go as a designer. You can go there and try some new stuff, and as a publisher you can go and see what's happening in the world. And I think that's really
kind of keep yourself up to date with what's going on in the board game community in the world. Yeah,
I don't think that they would become irrelevant anytime soon, gaming cafes and gaming spaces.
I mean, in this day and age, as long as I have a place to go hang out with people, with the like-minded people, I'm going to say, play a game, enjoy myself, enjoy the company of people. I mean, I'm fine with it. I'll go with it, really, to be honest. Nothing replaces that. And I think that's one of the reasons why we are board gaming. Right? The company, the quality time you get to spend with people, and, you know, the fun, basically.
Yeah, because we could go and do gaming on our consoles or
you
on
can
our
always play on your
phones
console, your PC, whatever.
But that does not have this kind of quality.
No, for me, it has. I'm not going to say completely replaced computer gaming, but yeah, it's been a.
But for me, it did.
Almost, you know, I spent, let's say, 2/3 of my gaming time
On
board
the table.
gaming, on the table with real people. A third, maybe on a PC or you know, video game.
It has a sense of, you know, belonging to community too. Yeah.
Well,
so I think that's it.
yeah. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you for the information. Good having you here. We'll see you guys a little bit later.